sure.
What do you want to talk about today?
I'm just
You're
gonna
the
focus on
technician
rear
here.
suspension stuff today.
Okay, so
It's
walk
pretty
us through.
simple. It'd be nice if you could throw a machine up on a lift, but I mean, it's just idler wheel bearings. Spin all your idler wheels, see what they sound like. If they're rough or gravelly, put new bearings in them, or if they're too loose.
Okay, so for the guys that don't do a lot of mechanical work,
Yeah.
how hard is it really to change an idler wheel and change the bearing in an idler?
Some of them can be easy. Some of them are difficult because you have to start taking the suspension apart to get to them. Outside ones super easy. Inside ones maybe you have to take the suspension out, take an arm out. So it might not be that easy.
Could you, in some cases, just loosen the track right off to get those wheels in?
Maybe.
Depends.
Yeah, it depends. It's from brand to brand and suspension to suspension. Like 90% of the time, you can just unbolt the wheel, take it off. But sometimes, especially on a few of the older machines, it might be part of a cross shaft or something, right?
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, if you at least loosen the track off, maybe spin them all. If they're all good, fine. You know they're all good. If there's some bad ones in there, if you can't do it yourself, you can take it in and get it done.
Right. Before we move off of idler wheels.
Yeah.
So one of the fastest ways to kill a ride is to have a idler wheel break off.
Depending which one it is, but yeah, for sure.
You know, and from there, what often happens is, again, depending upon which idler wheel comes off, you can rip your track to shreds.
Yeah, if you lose the rear one, your track's just going to go off to the side.
Yeah, so as much as it sounds like a pretty minor little detail, it can become a very expensive oops if you don't pay attention
And
to
it's
it.
super easy for the cheap.
Yeah.
And
What
then
else?
sliders.
Sliders,
You want
of
to make
course.
sure your sliders are at least, there's usually a wear mark on the slider, but you want to make sure they're, at least 3/4 there still.
Yeah.
And typically you could look at, say, the front of a slider up near the tips.
Yeah, up where the curve of
Yeah,
the...
and you'll see how thick it should be,
Mhm.
and then you can look to the back. And don't just, you have to look all the way along, because if there's not sliders will be
Wavy,
yeah,
right.
depending where the idler wheels are and stuff. If it's anywhere near the wear mark, change them. Sometimes if they got a little life, I might leave them on. If you can do it yourself, then I would maybe leave them on at the beginning of the year until you get a bit of snow, so you're not just burning up your new ones.
Right.
But be prepared to change those.
Have you ever burned the set off? Ever shot one out of the back of your set?
Yeah, but I didn't install that. I got that installed by my cousin. Yeah, right at the back. It was quite interesting. It was about 10 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're changing them, make sure that you're fixing them in there properly.
Yeah, put a little Loctite on that nut, maybe.
And if they're getting a little questionable, find the deep snow. We've been out riding when you could tell that they're getting hot and sticky, because it's like you let off the gas and you're hitting the brake.
Yeah,
and so when you do that, of course, you're starting to burn those things off, and sometimes you can smell them. Over the years, you smell.
Usually you smell the guy in front of you.
Yeah, that means yours are too.
That's true.
So be careful with that.
I've been on rides where we stopped and then I couldn't get going again. My sliders were stuck to my track, and I had to kick the track to break it loose.
Kind of rough on yourself. Huh?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
That's right with a big group, there's no stopping.
We talk about all the years and the things we've done on snowmobiles, and sometimes just it doesn't have to be a crazy story or something silly that we've done. Just riding when it's too warm or not enough snow or too much gravel because there wasn't enough snow. Like all kinds of things. What else in the suspension, Steve?
So other wheels, sliders, limiter strap.
Limiter strap.
Check the limiter strap, make sure it's solid. I've never really noticed one break, but I've seen it.
And you know what? But not even take it off.
I back mine off pretty loose because I like to take the weight off my skis.
But that's where I was going with this, Steve.
Yeah.
Is, you know what? People don't spend enough time setting up their suspensions for their weight.
Yeah.
And a limiter strap is a big part of how you set your sled for how it rides and handles. And for people that are new to the sport or newish to doing a little bit of wrenching on your sled, setting your sled up for your weight is very important, because it will make your riding experience.
Style. I've had guys ride my sleds and they didn't like the way they were handled. Buddy thought that my skis were coming up too much around the corners and stuff. But I just like to ride with not a lot of weight on my skis, and that I leave my limiter strap pretty loose.
But anyway, we're back to the suspension.
Shocks.
Yeah,
they're pretty reliable, but and I mean, unless you take them out of the suspension, you don't really know 100% whether good or not.
Mhm.
But you can visually check them for leaks, and you can bounce the sled and make sure it's not all bouncy.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they're rebuildable.
Mhm. So rebuildable shocks, Steve. How often?
Only if you need to, like, only if they're starting to, like, if they're bouncing. If they're
Yeah, if
leaking,
they're
or
just
leaking, or they're just, the machine's bouncing and it's not, yeah.
Yeah.
But you really can't tell unless you pull them out and compress them. And, yeah, it's hard to tell.
But so, as a rule of thumb, every second year.
For rebuilding?
Yeah, for rebuildable
I don't
shocks.
say so.
No. What do you think? Just
Just-
take them out and test
Yeah,
them.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
But I mean, I guess while it's out, you're doing all the
Or
other work
just,
we
you'll
talked
get
about.
the feel, like, I mean, you probably know when if your shocks, like if you hit a bump and it tries to launch you off the machine,
Mm-hmm.
or you go hit bumps, or your machine's sitting down low, or you're bottoming out your suspension constantly, you'll know.
You know.
Yeah. And then you pull your shocks out and have to look at them. I mean, when I'm doing a preseason, I'm just bouncing it on the ground and visually inspecting it.
Right.
Because you can't go in there and rip shocks out for a preseason.
Mm-hmm.
But if the customer says to me that it feels like they're bad, then I'll rip them out
And really give them a
give them a good once over, or see if they need to be rebuilt or replaced. Yeah. But I'm not going to give any kind of, I wouldn't say maybe 2 years or 3 years. You'll
Okay.
know. You'll know.
You'll know because, and I'll use the example because I've had this with even oil shocks that have worn out and got moisture in them, and you're
Oh,
out on
or
the
they
cold.
freeze.
They freeze rock solid.
Yeah, then they definitely need to.
Yeah, you know, at that point it's time to change that shock, spend the money, because you will not enjoy the ride. You'll become so disenchanted with that sled over a shock absorber. Like, fix it, replace it.
Yes, your daughter's no good watching her ride that one year. We all knew she needs shocks.
Yeah, and we replaced them, and she ended up putting 800 miles on that sled that year.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, she rode it a lot.
So I think that's about it, except for checking every bolt, make sure all the bolts are tight.
Mm-hmm.
You can check the rails for cracks. They crack, not often, but they sometimes crack. And just have a real good look at everything when you're in there.
Have a look at your track, the inside lumps.
Track, I always spin a track around once.
Mhm.
I just have a look at it, make sure it's decent. You know, if you're missing a lug or two, it's not a big deal as long as it's not getting down to the rod, so it looks like it's going to break or anything.
Okay.